my next guest is Margaret Crook. Um, she has her own business, which is Recipe for Health UK.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so Margaret will explain a bit about her business. And first off, though, could you let us know, like, when was your turning point? So when did you realize that your health was your control?
I think probably about 6-7 years ago, when I had a health digestive issues, lacking in energy, that sort of thing. It might have even been before that. Well, I knew I had health problems before that, probably about 6-7 years before I thought, yeah, I can do something about this. And after numerous visits to the doctor, they are GPs, so they can't know everything, and it was, oh, try these tablets, try those tablets, and I thought, you know what, no, I don't want to take tablets. This isn't something that you need to treat the cause, not the symptoms. So then I decided to keep a food diary religiously, everything that I drank, ate, whatever, and then started the really, really long process of elimination of various foods and all the rest of it, and reintroducing. And I've been really fairly well balanced for the last 5 years. And this last 6 months have been amazing. I've never felt so good. It's been really, really good. Nothing to do with lockdown, I have to say. Just been, because, well, actually it is because of lockdown. I've only been eating food that I've made, instead of, you go to someone's house and they say, oh, there's nothing in it or whatever, and they don't really understand the concept of how much a very small amount of something that upsets me will affect me for not just a day, but maybe a week or 2 weeks, you know. So I think in some respects that's been good. So yeah, about 5-6 years, that sort of thing, from when I really, really took control.
Yeah. How did you get into your business?
I decided, right, do what I'd always been passionate about and what I said I was going to do when I left school, and do something with food and showing people a better way to eat, and that it doesn't have to be difficult, and you can tailor it to what you want, your needs, and not just a way to eat, but showing people that their lifestyle can have a huge impact as well. And you can't do everything quickly. It's got to be a slow process. But it's the whole encompassing thing of food and environment and lifestyle that makes such a big difference. And I think one of the hardest things in life, to be who you are and do what you want to do, is to actually be able to say no. And that has taken me donkey's years to learn. And even now, when I say no, you know, somebody offers me, for example, something to eat that I really, really know will upset me, I find it really hard to say no in a polite way, obviously. You know, in the past, I've just eaten it and thought, oh God, I'm going to feel rubbish now for the next week. And that applies to all aspects of life, I think. It's really hard to say no.
I met you in a vegan fair in Swansea. And
was that the first time?
you had your own stall, and oh, Margaret's cakes are just amazing. The raw cakes, yeah. People don't realize that eating healthy, we can still have healthy treats.
Well, I think what I try and do is make things so that that they're the healthy things and the treats, as it were, they are actually good for you. So, for example, when I make occasionally, maybe once a week, maybe not that often, I make that chocolate muffin in a mug. Basically, okay, maybe not everyone agrees with microwaves. There's a lot of fors and against, but all that's in it is all good things, and a tiny, tiny bit of sweetener, maybe half a teaspoon of maple syrup. You've got coconut, you've got ground almonds, ground sunflower seeds, a vegan milk of whatever choice you want, which is always a natural sweetener as well, cacao, and you know, just mix it all up, shove it in the microwave, and that's just great. And it's so filling as well, because you're using ground almonds. So in all my cakes and that, you're using loads and loads of nuts, which have got to be good for you, and seeds. There's sweeteners in some of them, but I try and use natural as much as I can. And I think you've got to have a bit of what you want. Everybody has to have that in moderation. you know, otherwise you're just beating yourself up. And the more you do without, and you really want something, then the more you're going to want it. So have something, have a, you know, something, but make it a healthy one. So I always keep a stock of little balls and things, you know, energy balls and that sort of thing in the freezer, like that Hava as well. And all that's in that is raisins, tahini, and dates. Which, okay, there's a lot of loaded natural sugars in it, but do you know what? I've learned that you can actually eat them frozen when you're desperate. So yeah, just have some treats to hand like that, and they're good for you, and they're good snacks if you're out and about exercising as well. The first step in trying to decide anything is to get outdoors and exercise. That then is my thinking time, and then things come together and I start to realise what I need and what's been going wrong. So for example, just briefly, I was in London at my daughter's some time back, and I planned on what I was going to do while I was there, because she would have been teaching at school, the kids would have been at school, so I'd got the daytime free, and I thought, oh yeah, I'll do this, I'll do that, whatever. Got there, all the kids were ill, so I had to look after the kids during the day, and I was stuck in London, not able to go anywhere really until my daughter got home at about 7 o'clock at night in winter. And I thought, oh. Anyway, she said, Mum, just go out for a walk, dark or not, just get out. And I'd been stuck in for, you know, almost 24 hours, and I got out, and I'd only been outside about 5 minutes walking, and just everything sort of lifted, and all these ideas came to mind as to, you know, what I could do and what I was going to do with the kids the next day and all the rest of it. Instead of it all being a bit dark, it sort of gave me that, it opened things up, and it gives me that, you know, it just makes my mind work again, and you sort of can breathe a sigh of relief. So I think a bit of fresh air and, you know, pacing it out a bit in whatever form you can. It doesn't have to be fast, it's just whatever's good works for you. I think a bit of outdoor exercise is fantastic, yeah, for clearing the mind. So you've cleared your mind, you know what you want to do, but you can't achieve anything if you're not, if you don't feed your body as well as feeding your mind, and food will do both, the right food. So making sure you get enough protein so that, you know, you're able to, your mind's working well, loads of omega-3s and 6s, that makes your brain work. Just the right balance of everything. So starting the day properly, eating breakfast, which so many people skip, eating lunch and an evening meal, and if you need a few snacks in the day, great, but make sure it's good balance and you get a bit of protein at each meal if you can. And that's really important as you get older, because I've just recently been learned that they've done studies now for as you get older you lose muscle function, particularly over 65, which I'm just approaching, and obviously exercise is important to keep that up, to rebuild, but the other thing that you really need to do is eat more protein. And it's what a lot of people do, is eat it all in one meal in the evening, or most of it in one meal. They've said no, that's not right, you need to do it earlier in the day and a little bit at each meal, with most of it probably being in the lunchtime or earlier part of the day, but still some in the evening as well. So a lot, you know, you can have protein easily for breakfast, even if you're vegan like we are. You could have quinoa porridge or quinoa flaxseed pancakes. You could have buckwheat porridge, that's a complete protein. You can have some tofu scrambled or whatever floats your boat, but get some protein in. And then lunchtime the same. And I always reckon not such a heavy evening meal, because that just tires you out and you flop and you're fit for nothing. So good balanced diet. Some form of meditation, yoga, whatever is for you. I'm not going to shout about yoga, that's not for everybody, and it took me a long time to get into yoga, but there are so many different types that I think persevere and you'll find one that suits you, or your form of meditation. I'm not so good with meditation alone. I am sometimes, but I find that for me, my meditation is maybe swimming in the sea, and I can sort of thrash things out there, or just completely chill and forget absolutely everything, and I'm just submissive to the water or whatever, you know, and just, it's, that to me is a meditation. But yoga, you know, also helps, and it's a brilliant de-stress. But I think everybody will find their own way, but finding your own form of meditation stroke de-stress, I think, is mega important. An art form is always good, and I don't mean you've got to paint. If you can paint, I would love to be able to paint, absolutely love it. And I have now got to the stage where, although I know I'm not artistic in that respect, I would love to go on an art therapy type course, and I don't care if it's a splodge on a piece of paper and looks hideous. If it brings out what I feel and what I need to bring out, that's the important thing. At the moment, I'm lucky enough that I learned to play the piano when I was a kid. I gave up when I thought it wasn't cool, and I never did that well. I can only played up to about grade 5, but that's still really nice, and that to me is very good and a way of expressing myself, because it's a way of bringing out you and your personality and your feelings, your emotions, and all the rest of it. And I think there's always some form of art, as it were, that you can do. It doesn't have to be good. And I've recently put a couple of snapshots of videos of me playing the piano on Facebook, and they really aren't good. And people are saying, "Oh, you're wonderful." I'm not. I'm rubbish. Anybody that could play get rolling their eyes. But I don't care, and I did it because I want to show people that during lockdown, you don't have to be good at anything. Do what pleases you, what you need to do to express yourself, to get rid of frustration. For years, I've sort of tried to keep friendships up and that with people who really don't bother. There's no, you need to have a give as well as a take, it both from both sides. And also lots of friends who I found way down. The sort of friend that sort of has always done better than you, or if you've done something, they've done more. If you've been to Scotland, they've been to the Outer Hebrides, or Shetland, or if you've seen I don't know, if you've seen an unusual star, they'll have seen 6 unusual planets, or one of those. And people who you do come across who you'll say, I really fancy having a go at, I don't know, horse riding, say. Oh, you don't want to do that, you'll fall off.
Yeah.
Just get rid of them, distance yourself until you feel you can cope with them. And if you don't feel you can cope with them, then let it go, because have a go. It's better to try and fail and think, okay, that wasn't for me. Not I failed, it wasn't for me. And to look at things like that, because I've wasted a lot of time even trying to help people who wouldn't help themselves. And in the end, all you do is wear yourself down. They have so much negative effect on you that you wear yourself down and you become negative and lose confidence.
Yeah. Spend time with people who lift you up, who encourages you.
Yeah, you just, that's it. It doesn't matter. I mean, the odd time that's okay, and it's good to have advice off people, but there's a difference, I think, between advice and constant negativity, or so many times, oh, you don't want to do this, you don't want to do that. And in the same way, people that say, you want to do this, you want to do that, no, I don't. It's the same thing. You should do this. Should I really? I don't think so. And it's no, forget it. You just, yeah, okay, fine, whatever, let them go on, and then just, in one ear and out the other. And I think that's the way you've got to do it. I'm 65 in a couple of months. And okay, lockdown has stopped a lot of stuff, but I'm still planning what I'm going to do in my little van I bought, hopefully, when we're allowed to travel a bit more. What do you want to do that for? You would do that on your own? Yeah. Well, what if this happens? What if that happens? Well, if it happens, it happens. But why think like that? Probably won't. I just as easy cross the road and get run over. No, get on with it.
There's a quote, it's my favorite quote. It says, it's a simple quote. It's, what if I fail? Oh, but darling, what if you fly?
Yeah.
People always think of the negative. Oh, what if this goes wrong and this goes wrong? It's like, what if it goes right? What if it's
How amazing it would be. Yeah. Well, goodness me, you've proved it. Flipping heck. You've done so much. It's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I want to cycle up to North Wales, but I think I'll need an e-bike for that. I am cycling 2 or 3 times a week, but I couldn't do that on an ordinary bike. I just don't have it in me. I've tried, and I'm now accepting that I'm never going to be a brilliant cyclist. My body just says, no, you can swim as far as you want, but not cycling. I just need that extra help up hills, you know. So learn to accept it. And it's been tough accepting it, but that's the way it is. So I now just, if it's a steep hill, I just get off and push and just don't beat yourself up, you know.
If you're out and about and you're trying it, it's fine.
Exactly. Yeah, getting, you know, it's just accepting what you can do and your limitations. And for you, it's exactly the same, isn't it? You really accept limitations, but my goodness, you're really pushing.
Good task then.
Brilliant.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Margaret. It's been
That's a pleasure.
enjoyed this. You're just so real.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I try to be. Well, yeah, I'm just me, and it's like if I write anything, and if I do on those videos that I do, it's just me prattling on the way I would in a workshop or whatever. It's just me, and that's. But lovely to talk to you, Tina. We must keep in touch, and as soon as we can, meet up again. That'd be amazing.